Hello classmates. In this lecture, we will learn the preparation and management of ultrasonic testing process documents. Process documents, in a broad sense, refer to the text materials directly related to the process can be counted as process documents such as the standards and specifications used in testing, the testing process regulations and testing operation instructions, and the recording files of testing results, etc., are the quality of ultrasonic testing. A very important technique document is the assurance system. In the usual standards, process documents refer to process regulations and operating instructions. Therefore, in this lecture, we only introduce three contents. 1. Process specification. 2. The operating instructions. 3. File management. Let's talk about the first content, the process specification. The so-called process regulations are a series of regulations formulated by the inspection unit according to the requirements of the entrusting unit and in combination with the structural characteristics of the workpiece and relevant regulations, standards, etc., to provide a basic for the implementation of subsequent processes and are generally used within the enterprise. It is very important technique documents in the quality assurance system of electronic testing. Therefore, the process specification must clearly answer the requirements of the entrusting party one by one. If you have any doubts, you should ask the entrusting party of the clarification and finally obtain the approval of the entrusting party. There are three requirements for the formulation of the process regulations. 1. The process regulations are compiled according to the requirements of the entrusting unit, combined with the structural characteristics of the workpiece and relevant regulations and standards. That is to say, the process regulation should not violate relevant regulations and standards. 2. The process specification is organized and compiled by the personnel who have obtained the ultrasonic testing level. 3. Qualification together with the relevant technical personnel. 3. It has the most direct guiding significance for the implementation of testing work. It can be seen that the process specification is not a copy of the relevant regulations, standards, and the product technical requirements. It must be carefully analyzed and used flexibly in combination with the structure characteristics of workpiece, which has practical guiding significance. A complete process specification should usually include the cover page, revision pages, table of contents and body parts. The content of the cover usually includes the name of the unit, the version number of the regulations, the name of the project, the name of the test object, the version, etc. The modification page is presented in a table style, including the serial number, modification date, version, and modification range, etc. The main body should usually include the following aspects. 1. General rules generally describe the scope of application of the regulations, the names and the codes of the cited regulations and standards, and the regulations for testing personnel, etc. 2. The scope of the inspected materials or workpieces to which the regulations apply, which may include the name, drawing number, material, and heat treatment status, and the inspected parts. 3. Acceptance criteria or equivalent technical requirements. 4. The personnel qualification requirements of the code for practice. 5. Testing timing, process number. 6. Ultrasonic testing technology used. 7. Model of ultrasonic testing instrument required by the code of practice. 8. Type, frequency, size, angle of inclined probe, etc. of the probe used. 9. Coupling agent. 10. The code and name of the standard test block and the reference test block. 11. The inspection part and the surface preparation requirements before the inspection, which may include the sketch of the inspected part and indicate the various requirements on the drawing. 12. Calibration methods including various adjustment requirements for instructions and equipment. 13. Requirements for scanning method. 14. Requirements for defect assessment methods. 15. Requirements for inspection marks and original data records. 16. Operation requirements after inspection. 17. Requirements for result reporting. 18. Signature of the protocol prepare level 3 personnel. Signature of the protocol approver. Below is an example of the procedure specification for ultrasonic testing of welded joints in the marine industry. Due to the time constraints, we will not give a word-for-word explanation, just be familiar with its basic format and content. 1. Scope of application. This regulation is applicable to ultrasonic testing of ship welding seams in shipbuilding, ship repairing, marine engineering, and military products. 2. Citation standard. 3. Testing personnel. Ultrasonic testing personnel shall have qualification certificates mutually recognized by classification societies at home and abroad. 4. Requirements for detectors, probes, and system performance. 5. Test block for detection. 6. Coupling agent and compensation. 7. Preparation before testing. 8. Inspection points. 9. Determination of defects. 10. Product quality level. 11. Inspection records and reports. From the example of the process specification just now, it can be seen that the process specification provides guidelines for the entire process of ultrasonic test for preparation, test implementation to testing, result processing with clear constraints. After the process specification is used for the first time, if part of the modification is made, the modification date and modification content record should be filled in the modification page. If the change is large, A new version of the process specification should usually be re-established. Second, the operating instruction. The operation instruction is an operation document describing the detailed requirements to be followed by the ultrasonic testing method for testing a specific part or a group of similar parts. It is usually issued by qualified personnel of level 2 and above of the relevant method according to the ultrasonic testing regulations and relevant standard. It is embodiment of the ultrasonic testing process specification, and its main purpose is to provide accurate process guidance for the implementation of the detection of the specific part, so as to ensure the correctness of the detection, implementation, as well as the consistency and repeatability of the detection results. Operation instructions are still used to be called process cards in other professions. In order to be consistent with foreign counterparts in the non-destructive testing industry, the title has been changed to Operation Instruction. For each type or type of inspected object, the compiler shall provide information on the material grade, heat treatment state, manufacturing method, surface state, maximum possible machining allowance, the type of discontinuity that affects its application, and the reasons for its formation, and the maximum possible orientation, and size and force direction of the inspected part, and the acceptance requirements are fully understood and written. There are also 3 requirements when compiling. 1. A work document for the detailed requirements that should be followed for the implementation of testing of specific parts. 2. Level 2 and above qualified personnel shall be prepared according to the ultrasonic testing regulations or relevant standard. 3. Provide accurate process guidance for the implementation of the detection of specific parts. The operation instructions are usually presented in the form of tables, and the main contents include: 1. The inspection procedures or standard numbers based on. 2. One or a batch of the same inspected materials or workpieces name, product number or batch number, inspected parts, and service preparation before testing. 3. Acceptance criteria. 4. Specified specifications, models and numbers of ultrasonic detectors, probes, reference blocks, roller mixtures, and auxiliary equipment. 5. Ultrasonic testing techniques used. 6. Calibration requirements and scanning inspection method. 7. Regulations on result adjustment and data recording. 8. The signature of the compiler, level 2 or level 3 personnel. It can be seen that the process card is more targeted than the detection process regulations. For example, the equipment and the equipment used should be designated with specific models or even numbers, and the inspection surfaces should also be marked in sketches according to the drawings of the specific parts. Specific values should be given for the size of the reference block used to adjust the sensitivity of the instrument, The buried depth of the artificial detects the coverage of each detection surface or probe and the detection depth range. In addition, the steps that have a greater impact on the results during the operation should also give specific requirements. Taking the manual welding test board as an example to see its format and content. There is a manual welding test plate with X-shaped groove. The material is Q235C and the height is not polished after welding. The thickness of the test plate is 22 mm. The width of the test plate on both sides of the weld is 250 mm, and the width of the upper and lower sides of the weld is 15 mm. The test board is tested according to the B grade in the GB 11345-1989 standard, and the qualified grade is grade 2. The operating instructions are shown in the figure. It can be seen from the table that the operation instruction roughly constrains 4 aspects. One is the workpiece information, such as the workpiece name, material grade, etc. The other is the equipment parameters, such as the instrument model, probe model, test block models, etc. It is the detection parameter, such as detection surface, detection area, scanning method, etc. The fourth is the signature information. 3. Process document management. The process documents are one of the non-destructive testing materials, and their management should comply with the provisions of the relevant standards. The process documents related to ultrasonic testing should be kept by the relevant departments. For example, in the MB/T47013 standard, it is stipulated that the testing unit should establish a complete non-destructive testing file, and these files should include at least the following contents. 1. The non-destructive testing entrusting unit or the inspection and testing contract. 2. The non-destructive testing process document. 3. The non-destructive testing record. 4. Non-destructive testing reports. The storage period of non-destructive testing reports should meet the requirements of the relevant regulations and standards, and shall not be less than 7 years. In addition, the relevant units of ultrasonic testing should also be equipped with relevant norms and guidance documents, relevant national or industry standards, and these documents should be up-to-date and effective. Documents related to inspection process control and operation supervision, etc. Finally, we look at the entire ultrasonic testing process. I hope that students must be familiar with and know their corresponding requirements. Well, that's all for today's content. Thank you for your watching.